Home a Unique Horror Adventure is an indie game developed by Benjamin Rivers and published through Benjamin Rivers Inc. that consists of him and Nacy Young. These developers also created other titles such as Worse Than Death, Alone With You, and a visual novel by the name of Snow. On June 1st of 2012, Home was released onto Steam first and later on ported to other consoles. I have the PlayStation 4 version, so let's get into it. This game presentation is noticeably that of the pixel art direction with the reliance for shading of colors and forms to make out what the figures is trying to represent. In this case, it was done quite well, even though through the help of the presented dialogue gives you more clarity as to what is being viewed. Other objects that appear during the entering and exiting sequences bears an uncanny similarity to the old classic Resident Evil game and how they transition from one area to another. This whole entire game is drowned in dark areas with only the lighting provided by the lamp the main character has as your way to see clearly. Through this deliverance, it shows off and exudes the ominous and suspenseful elements this game possesses. Speaking of this game's world, Home's different change of settings the player will experience was quite nice in a retro NES type of way. The different environments change within the story's progression and smoothly at that. With this game's atmosphere and appearance, I would have passed this game off as a survival horror type of game. The story of Home is about a man who wakes up and quickly realizes that something obviously is going wrong in his neighborhood during the time of him being unconscious. You see, the main character has amnesia, so in an attempt to fully understand what has transpired, he journeys through several places collecting clues to piece together what could possibly have happened. There are also other people that share ties to the main character and are pivotal in the grand scheme of things, but I'm not going to spoil it here though. Overall, this is the original focus of the storyline. However, the narrative and freedom to choose what the main character does and thinks to be true can lead the story into multiple directions. The gameplay of Home is essentially a side-scroller with thriller and semi-horror elements added in. The only controls you have at your disposal is moving left or right, raising your lantern so you can get a higher perspective, and a button whose usage is to observe various items, interact with environment objects, entering and exiting areas, and lastly choosing if you want to change something via yes or no question when prompted. In other words, essentially this game is go here, pick up this item, go there, use this item to unlock areas and further progress in the story. And as I said before, the player controls the narrative and its direction. All of your choices will determine a multiple of outcomes and its ending. So because of how this game is created, it warrants multiple playthroughs. Home also has puzzle solver elements here and there where you must flip switches to remedy a problem. It is very good for the player to look at everything and not to leave anything unseen. Reading descriptions of an object does give hints and expositions to the main character's backstory. Now there were a few things that I had to pay attention when playing Home. In this game there is no map, so remembering your current position and correspondence to where you need to go is a must. The second thing is when adjusting something via yes or no prompt, some items may require multiple interactions, meaning that you'll be met with the yes or no question multiple times, but still answer them all the same until something happens where the question prompt won't be presented to you. This will save some time of feeling confused and going back and forth multiple times just to see if anything new happened. There isn't that much music in this game. Instead, Home relies heavily on sound design to provide the feel of this game in regards to sound. Where this game probably lacks in presentation, what it has going forward is atmosphere. The player can hear footsteps of the main character, things making suspicious noises in the near distance, and of course objects being moved when entering and exiting areas. Examples of this are hearing doors creaking or screeching open, branches and leaves being moved or trampled upon when going through bushes, and lastly, the footsteps when climbing up or going down ladders or steps. Overall, there's a reason why this game asks the player to adjust the volume at the beginning. This is so you can hear the richness of the sound texture. With the absence of music, playing this game for me personally kinda had me on edge, due to my notion that when things are a little bit too quiet, a jump scare is bound to happen at any time and anywhere. With everything covered, it's time to put a rating to this game. I'm going to give Home Unique Horror Adventure a 6 to a 7 out of 10. I would consider this game more of a psychological experience to be had. It questions what a person will believe to be true when the obvious thought could possibly be right or wrong. A good way to put it is imagining a person walking into the middle of a thriller movie. Not aware or seeing the beginning or anything, just walking into a scene where something like a fight scene is going on. Without context of what's leading up to the events between these characters, who or how would you determine who is the good guy and who is the bad guy? This is pretty much how this game is like. Home a Unique Horror is available now for Steam, for Mac and PC, and also the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita for like $4 to $5. Home is also available for Apple iOS, for Apple iPhones, and iPads for only $3. You can complete this game in a single run that will take you 45 minutes to an hour to do. As a matter of fact, this game actually recommends you to try to do a run in one single sitting, because if you decide to quit, you have to start your run all over again. This game is worth an experience and it really doesn't cost that much. It's worth checking out. Peace y'all.